Hi there, it's Alex James Hislop. I'm going to do a channel session today. It's February 21st, 2019. So, I'm going to run down the disclaimers and get to it. So, I'm Alex James Hislop. Mecaps main spirit guides. Mecaps current information from the light takes priority in regards to what Mecaps and the way Mecaps and get in the light. So Mecaps current information from the light regarding what Mecaps indicate in regards to myself and others, how to get from what they chose for us in regards to this portion of the disclaimers takes priority. How Mecaps indicate in the light, the way Mecaps indicate in the light. Mecaps current information for what they chose for this content that Mecaps indicated, as well as other information that Mecaps indicated takes priority. How Mecaps indicate in the light, the way Mecaps indicate in the light. Any grammatical errors, etc., defined by Mecaps within this content, etc., defined by Mecaps that Mecaps indicate can be clarified by Mecaps information and should not deter from the information within this content, etc., defined by Mecaps the way Mecaps indicate in the light. For myself and others, defined by Mecaps all that is the dimensions, especially far light, as well as what my main cap indicator defined by my main spirit guides in the light, the way my main spirit guides indicated in the light. My main spirit guides chain of command is fully defined by my main spirit guides in the light, the way my main spirit guides indicated in the light. I and others defined by cap are asking for what my main cap chose for us to advocate in regards to this content, etc. Defined by cap the way my main cap indicated in the light. Light and those that main cap indicate in the light do what my main cap indicate in regards to this content, the way my main cap indicate in the light. I also have an advocation as well as a testification in regards to some people might look at it as an attestment, but I look at it as for some of it to be similar, for some of it not. It's not meant to offend. It's meant to be as a safety precaution. I think it can help. I do apologize to those who dislike that. There's been a lot of people who at times I feel have been under a certain kind of duress in regards to certain kinds of testifications, especially in regards to certain kind of spiritual turbulence at times, so I am apologetic. I don't mean to upset. I'm Alex James Hislop, Mecaps main spirit guides. I and others to testify in regards to those that Mecaps indicate, especially in regards to channel sessions that Mecaps indicate the way Mecaps indicate. This includes what Mecaps indicate the way Mecaps indicate. I and others to are asking for the punishment in regards to these testifications, etc. To be what Mecaps indicate the way Mecaps indicate. I and others to are asking for the ripple effect, etc. In regards to these testifications, etc. To be what Mecaps indicate the way Mecaps indicate. I and others to are asking for our testifications, etc. To be utilized, etc. defined by the way Mecaps indicated. Mecaps current information, etc. in regards to these specifications, information, etc. Mecaps takes precedence. The way Mecaps indicated, Mecaps chain of command is fully defined by main spirit guides in the light. The way main spirit guides indicated in the light. I'm Alex James Hislop, Mecaps main spirit guides. I and others are asking for healing, defense, support, etc. Specifically in regards to channel sessions that Mecaps indicated, and others the way Mecaps indicated. I and others are asking for our applications, clarifications, etc. to be used, utilized, etc. Defined by when Mecaps indicated, when Mecaps current information, etc. Defined by regards to this application information, etc. Defined when Mecaps takes precedence, when Mecaps indicated, I and others from Mecaps asking for the ripple effect, impact, etc. Defined by regards to this application information, etc. Defined by to be what Mecaps indicated, the way Mecaps indicated, I and others defined by asking for, etc. Defined by and others defined by to be protected, the way Mecaps indicated, I and others defined by asking for the correction overlap to exist where Mecaps indicated in regards to the errors that Mecaps indicated, the way Mecaps indicated. I and others trying to get asking for the information that Mecaps indicated in regards to safeties pertaining to those that don't do disclaimers, applications, etc. Defined by the way Mecaps indicated. Mecaps chain of command is fully defined by Mecaps in far light. Mecaps is my main spirit guides. I am Alex James Hislop. So yeah, channeling. What is channeling? Oh yes, I and others defined by Mecaps are advocating for the families that my main spirit guides need to be protected. My main spirit guides needed. So what exactly is channeling? Channeling. Movement. I feel as a psychic. I'm a psychic medium. I feel spirits channeling through at times. I feel, and you see this movement with my hands. I can feel at times spirits moving in and channeling, and some of which some spirits might utilize this as a certain kind of game. I'm hoping not. There's this sort of turbulence and battle at times, I feel, in the spiritual sort of sense regarding channeling. I'm not looking for the channel that Mates guys indicated and channeling to be protected. The way Mates guys indicated, there's this sort of thing where it's like to see where exactly we stand in regards to certain things, and there's still channeling happening at times. As a psychic medium, I have discerned certain kind of breaking off of certain channeling, but to a certain degree, it's been a fairly constant kind of thing. I wake up, I notice the channeling happening. I'm a certain kind of psychic. I can sense a certain kind of channeling. It's something that developed in 2015, 2016. I am advocating for that development to be protected, if possible. Women's guys needed. I am trying to stay away from certain kind of applications. I would like to talk about certain kind of channeling and channeling videos. I will potentially do another sort of defensives video out there in regards to channeling, if possible. It's something that would potentially take place, and maybe an HH defensive to a certain extent. So yeah, it's one of those things. What exactly is channeling? So we can feel at times, certain psychics can feel spirits affecting movement, channeling through. Imagine that there's this certain channel that exists where spirits can influence and maneuver. And I have felt as a certain kind of being that utilizes channeling, I have felt channeling at times be obscured, and for certain debris at times to be put there where it kind of blocks kind of channeling. I can feel certain kind of debris at times maneuvered in a certain kind of way in regards to channeling. That's certain information that is, I think, important to know, because it lets know that there is sometimes blockages within channeling, some of which isn't necessarily natural. I think that some of it is spiritual influences and things of that nature. It exists. There is, we've talked about it before. It's not too unheard of. I don't think negativity and positivity exists, not just negative. I mean, sometimes certain kind of channeling stoppages isn't necessarily just negative in nature. And I don't think that's too bad of a thing. With that being said, I still have felt channeling. Channeling. What is channeling? So channeling's multiple different things. There's a channel in regards to movement. There's a channel in regards to communications. We think about communications from the spirit realm, things like that, where we garner messages, we can garner information, we can speak to them. I speak to an open channel spirits daily. I have full conversations with them with my out loud voice. In my mind is what was said, and also in other sort of communications and telepathy to a certain degree. And it's that sort of thing that can sort of help and change everything. And so yeah, so channeling, what sort of communications do we garner? I think messages from beyond the veil. I think one of the classic sort of responses is to garner loved ones' messages. What kind of spiritual interactions exist? Oh, many different kinds. And I did want to have a certain system where when I spoke, I'd hold up a certain kind of card, and then when the spirit spoke, I'd hold up another one. And I do believe that and I don't think I have that on me right now, unless I am mistaken. I don't think I have that right now, but next time I might utilize that to a certain degree. For now, I might utilize it in a certain kind of fashion. So I might ask a question and then try and garner, a certain kind of response from the spirit. One of the key things, in regards to, for me, I think in regards to open channeling and garnering messages, I think is the sort of classic automatic writing kind of style. That is where they channel through your hands. That's why when I go like this, it's not so unheard of. And where you ask a message and they just, they basically write a response. And I can feel the influence from the spirit, channeling through. And there is that sort of thing. I've been attending certain kind of AREI webinars, and they have been fascinating and helped in a myriad of different ways. I am hoping for communications in regards to, and if possible, psychic development that main spirit guides indicated. I think that would be fairly decent. A lot of people interested in regards to automatic writing. It's a fascinating topic, and a lot of people aren't necessarily out there trying to figure out, certain things to a certain degree. In fact, a lot of people want to hear some of the, ethereal and positive of the sort of, conversation. I know I've garnered a lot of sort of some of these stuff that some people aren't necessarily looking at too much, which is decent, I think, to a certain degree. But even so, I'm not necessarily looking for certain kinds of things anyway, either way. But I am looking for, conversation. I am looking for certain kinds of responses, yeah. One of the classic, for me, one of the books that I have read, and I haven't read too many spiritualist writings to a certain degree, which is a bit of a shame. I like my lens, I like my perspective, and I like to be able to analyze certain things, to be able to garner information. I feel like the conversation in regards to certain kind of in regards to certain content that I'm able to see provides me with more information, stacked on the information that I can learn in regards to the content itself. So it's one of those things that can help me, but I am sort of still haven't been able to fully delve into other spiritual research, and I'm hoping that still is I'm still pursuing that sort of thing because it matters greatly. There is a ton of information out there in regards to channeling. Multiple. I know of a couple of them. Graham Bernard was a channeler. Is one of the books that I have read, and he's really fascinating too. The other one is the Seth material, but I haven't really seen too much of it. But I feel like it is good stuff nonetheless. But there's a myriad of different kinds of stuff out there. Ramtha is one of them. There's others out there as well too, a myriad of different channelers and different kinds of entities in regards to that sort of stuff. And one of the things that we talked about within my process is where exactly are we getting this sort of information from in regards to channeling? Where exactly is it that this information is being channeled from? And I think the answer to that, in regards to myself at least, and others from Inspirit Guides, is multiple different kinds of places, in multiple different kinds of dimensional existences. I don't think it's just coming from one spot for what's acceptable. I know some people might view it as one area if you think about it in this certain kind of spirit realm and spirit world. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, then maybe, but I think that there's different kind of dimensional overlaps that exist in a myriad of fashion. And I think that there's, within garnering that sort of information, I think that there is multiple kinds of entities, some of which aren't always, benevolent. I don't mean to be the stickler in the mix, but I just have to be. I do want to be able to let know that is sort of how I feel about it to a certain degree. I don't mean to negatively affect certain things for what's acceptable. I think letting you know of it is decent to a certain degree. Some people like to utilize certain kinds of names in regards to the beings that they channel. And I think it's a mixed bag in regards to some of that. I think that there is things in regards to it that can be difficult, meaning that I think for some, it's not always the same being that's being channeled through for what's acceptable. I think that can exist and does exist. I think for now I want to stay away from certain kinds of things, but I thought one of the ideas that would be really cool is sort of naming the entities that channeled through in that session itself, and giving that session maybe that sort of name that you called that entity to. I think that's a cool way of doing it, but I don't mean to be, sorry, I wanted to bring it up one more time. That's kind of how I felt about it. Anyway, but yeah, there is those who do sort of utilize that sort of way of channeling and way of associating, and I think that there is clarifications out there in regards to that behind the scenes, spiritually in myriads of different manners pertaining to certain kinds of psychics and mediums who channel, who speak with multiple kinds of entities and entities that are labeled as one. I think that there is clarifications, and spirit guides information is out there in regards to it in a myriad of different fashion. I think it's understood to a certain degree as well, and probably explained in regards to some of the content as well too. I mean, that's also it. Is a lot of it I haven't been able to see to a certain extent. I think one of them is. Well, I want to make sure. That's how I feel about it. Just don't meant that way. Yeah, Bashar's another one. That's another sort of another one out there. Different kinds of and a lot of the information garnered, I feel in multiple ones, especially the ones that I mentioned, are fairly decent. A lot of really good information. A lot of really what's awesome about that is the sort of eclecticness at times in regards to the information itself. And within my process, I've sort of realized that Earth can be a certain kind of melting pot, and there's this sort of thing about conflicting spiritual information, that just because it's conflicting or seemingly conflicted doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. And that's what I really love about it. I think that you can come from different kinds of places and different kinds of dimensional existences where some of that information still jives, even by way of it not necessarily jiving right next to each other. I think that there's examples out there of that. Maybe in certain dimensional existences, there's certain kinds of physics. You think about physics, you think about almost like the laws of gravity, and you think about the laws of the setting itself. Well, what if there's different kinds of laws of setting? What if there's different kinds of setting itself in the context of that sort of stuff? If there's a certain kind of gravity where it doesn't necessarily work exactly as we perceive it to be, would be, I think, for some, if you put those information next to each other in a certain kind of context, there could be disagreements, and even looking at it where it'd be like, I don't know if can that be true? And it's like, well, if there's certain kinds of setting that work that way, then I think that there could be that a certain kind of gravity doesn't necessarily work as what we perceive it to be. And I think that's just an offhand example of that it can that certain kinds of spiritual information and metaphysical information can be can conflict but still hold weight and still be truth, just let alone by way of different kinds of dimensional existences that don't necessarily operate in similar kinds of fashion. Anyway, with that being said, we can let's do you want to channel? Let's so what does the spirit want me to know? Oh, well, we're around, and that's the case of it. So that is the spirit letting know that they are around, and I'm hoping for the reputational defense wearing those. So what exactly do you want to talk about? And this was an Alex partial open channel though, because sometimes spirits speak through me when I speak as well. So that does happen as well. And there's such a thing as a channel clamps that can be moved as well. And I can sense and discern those channel clamps in a certain kind of way. Yeah. So anyway, what is it? I know that God has been on the docket, and it's been definitely in my process past 2 days. What is God? God is many different things. That is an open channeling spirit saying that. So it's gonna be difficult to do this, but maybe I should look over here to my left, and when I answer, we'll look to the right, and we'll look for an answer on the right. So then some people know. I mean, I don't want to confuse people if I get it wrong. At the same time, I want people to know when I'm speaking and when the spirit is speaking. Maybe I'll just do the asking and you do the answering. We can do it that way too. Answering and asking, that's how I like it. Okay, all right, well, sounds good to me. So, God is a lot of different things. Care to elaborate? Yes, a lot of different things. Some people feel like he's the universe. And some people not. And some people not. Okay. So powerful beings do exist then. Yes. Yeah, definitely. In multiple kinds of ways. Too soon. Okay, it was a little bit of interaction there. Sorry. How about what kind of god powers do they have? A lot of different things. Telekinesis, manipulation, influencing. They can do a lot of different stuff. The stuff that you see, the stuff that you know about. Yeah, that sort of stuff. So you're saying that within like fiction, is that what you're saying? Yes, fiction. That's it. That's the word. Yep, fiction. Oh boy, this is gonna be good. Okay, so I know that. Well, it was. So you're saying that there is certain kinds of within fiction itself. There is tells to some of that stuff being truth. Yes, we speak through you in many different ways. I like it. I see what I see. I see very good. But so many different ways. Sorry, a little bit of turbulence, a little bit of energy there going on. I don't mean to be upsetting about it. So levitation, yes. Walking on water, yeah. Well, let's save those big ones for later. I was going to ask about Jeebus, but maybe not. Sorry, not Jeebus. Jesus, my bad. Is there? I guess there's certain laws in place. Yes. And he is around us at times. He is around us at times. He's been here. There's certain things at times, and it's difficult to describe. Okay, well, we'll get a new direction. What new direction? We can go a different direction. I mean, what kind of? This is that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, what's the questions here? What do we ask? I'm discussing with the spirit over here, like as to what we should discuss. What should we ask? A bunch of different things. Oh, gender, yeah. What's God's gender? A lot of different things. A lot of different things. Okay? Female, male, other genders. What are the other genders like? The other genders are amazing. Wait till you see it. Wait till I see it. Yes, that's very good. Very awesome. Other genders. Wow. I don't know why that is. Because there's somebody doing something. Because that's how we felt about it. I wanted to prove it. Well, good for you. How does other genders work? How, like, I don't understand. Like, I see transgender, I see male, I see female, I see a certain kind of neutral gender that's reminds me of a certain kind of perceived to be and potentially seemingly real alien entity, something we've referred to as the Greys. I don't mean to be upsetting about this. I'm not going to ask too much about that, but the gender itself feels fairly neutral. Is that one of them? That is one of them. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. That is one of them. So you don't know why. All right. Neutral gender. So almost like a platonic to it as well. Because that's also it. We think about asexual and that sort of thing, and that's also it. We sometimes base, I think, a little bit of emphasis in regards to certain kinds of sexual orientation. What if you start to base it from something else? What if you start to base it from something else then? So that's really it then. And that would be why. The idea is that there's also other things that we can base it off of, things that we can base gender off of, not just sexual orientation, not just reproduction, but other sorts of things, senses, right? Isn't there such a thing as that? Basing a gender off of senses. Yeah, yes, there is. Multiple kinds. And I want to say that I want to ask about that, but I don't want to ask too much about the physical. I want to ask about that later. For now, I just want to keep it basic. What's God's thing about some of the? Is this the middle finger here? I was gonna ask God if what was his favorite gender, and I think that he wanted to go maybe he likes multiple, and that's the case of it. Indeed, indeed, for his sake. That's the problem. That's not the problem. That's decent. That's decent. He likes multiple. Okay. Multiple gods? Potentially. So some people believe that there's not gods. Some people believe there's some gods. Some people believe that we're all gods. And there's others too. That means you guys need it. I believe regarding all 3 and 4. That means you guys need it, as well as others. That means you guys need it. And I and others were into guys there. The means you guys need it. But I find it fascinating. To sort of ponder that supreme beings would exist in a sort of magical and technological sort of way. At what point do you consider something a god? At what point don't you? Well, your classification has to do with power. Oh, yes, that's somewhat. That is actually true. Yeah, you don't know why. What is going on? Because that's what they said. They said you're flying in another dimensional existence. I feel like I'm flying in another dimensional existence. That is actually true. With that being said, I still have a content to record. No, crazy fascinating, man. Really fascinating. I didn't want to pull that joke because it really does matter. And so these levitation are, is it one for later? One for later, Alex. Okay. I like the joke because some magicians love that. I think that's what's great about it. I think, well, for what's acceptable, I think in the context that means you guys indicated anyway. But with that being said, I imagine for healing regarding that, it felt like another dimensional sort of thing get affected there. Imagine for my channel to be protected, the way you guys need it. Imagine for the channeling that makes you guys need to be protected, the way you guys need it. I feel like that's needed here. All right, fine. And that would be why, Alex. So it's craft about it. So, so what would God classify a god to be? Oh, somebody said something, but I don't know if that was that one of them? Was that one of them? That's how you feel about it, huh? Your own perception of God. That's the problem with it. Well, that's what's interesting about it. You don't know why it was. Because that was the case. This was the real true, man. You don't know why. Well, you don't know why that is. That was the thing of it, though, Alex. And that's the case of it. That's what they were trying to do. A little bit of a turbulence going on here. What are the other questions that we can ask? These are just preliminary ones. This is one of the starting ones. So technically, I think the third sort of official channel session that I've sort of somewhat recorded video on to a certain extent for what's acceptable, at least in regards to myself, Alex James Hislop, Fenbo 44. Fenbo 44 is an attachment name in regards to my perspective as to who I am. That means you guys needed, the women's guys needed will pertain to, well, anyway, with that being said, if you have other dimensional selves, I find it sometimes useful to come up with certain kinds of additional, namings that can be decent. Other dimensional selves exist? Yes, they do. Yep, multiple. Yes. It's been talked about on content before. I have said it before. We've had conversations. Remember, we have a certain kind of rapport at times, and this is also it. Well, that's why. That would be why. Yes, I think that there is potentially channel beings that exist. Yep, they do. That was the case of it. But some of it's not necessarily what we think it is. It's not necessarily, living for what's acceptable. I think there's ones out there that isn't. True. Yes, potentially. All right, for what's acceptable, right? And yes, for what's acceptable. Indeed, for what's acceptable. Okay, okay, all right. That's the problem with this. You don't know why, because that was the reason. Your name's Alex. Yes, my name is Alex, yeah. Well, that would be why. This is the case of this. I mean, you don't know why. Not necessarily, man. You don't know why. Because there's a reason. There's a reason for all this. Oh, okay. Well, that would be why. Okay, then. I am advocating for, I'm hoping that the channel is okay. I feel like there is some turbulence right now. There is some spiritual turbulence in regards to garnering some information. It's a very, I was planning on doing channel sessions. I haven't, got into it as much as I think I need to. It's something I hope to do daily, at least on a weekly sort of way. I do apologize for it's been a little bit since I've done a certain kind of channeling video. It was actually last year, about half a year ago now. With that being said, I do feel like maybe this is one to get out of the way a little bit, and maybe it kind of needed to have happen. A little bit of turbulence at times, maybe just to get things situated to a certain extent, or is it? Well, something's in play for him. But that was the problem with it. Because you don't know why. Because you do something. You've been doing something. And they know it. And this was the case of this. Because this is how we feel about it. You don't know why. Well, I appreciate, the laid back and chill. Definitely, good sirs. Keep that a-going. I mean, this is the thing of it. Well, that would be why, Alex. Just got anyway, I do appreciate both, multiple different things, and this is the real true. I like multiple. I hear multiple, definitely hear multiple. With that being said, I'd like to get back to the questions. What exactly is it that I want to do this for like another 10 30 minutes here. So what exactly questions do we want to ask? He's going to the spirit right now and speaking as to what we should ask. And that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I don't really know what to ask. All right, so we've talked about gender. We talked a little bit about God. What's a good pastime from God? What does he like to do? Watch things. It's an old one, right? Yes. Okay. I'm just asking. Just saying. Watching, I perceive to be old. Don't you think? Yeah. Yes, I agree. Indeed. So, I mean, it makes sense. For what's acceptable? For what's acceptable. Okay. Well, that was the problem with it. He kept holding this. And that's the problem with it. You don't know why. I am hoping for my communications to be set the way these guys need it. I am hoping for direction regarding those that these guys need, these guys need it. Those that means guys need to get the way these guys need it. That's also right. What do you want to ask here? I'm hoping, I'm advocating for the media that these guys need to be protected. These guys need the scrums that these guys need. Spiritual media, I think, exists, folk, and I think it does exist. It is something that's been prevalent and something that's been happening. What sort of content do we want to have happening here when we're doing the channel sessions? What exactly do you think it would be? Because there's another spiritual sort of side to all this. The physical see the physical side of it, and the other dimensional sees sometimes the other dimensional perspective, the other dimensional side to things. What exactly is it that we want during these content? Well, that's what we're discussing here a bit, and we sort of decided. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going with Rates for Guides Indicated. That's decent. All right, then. I try to stay away from certain things. Well, you do, and that was the thing of it. Somewhat. Well, I think at times, sometimes it's needed in a certain kind of capacity. Whoa, okay, but this is the thing of this. Okay. Not cool. There's people who, no, we're fine. Okay. All right. It's good. All right, well, that's okay. Key to life? Water. Very good. Buried water. That's brilliant. There's some charisma. Well, that's why. I'm looking for a little bit more than water. Okay. I'm going with okay with what Mr. Guys indicated. Okay, so what sort of activities does God get up to at times? He likes to see a lot of different things. One of these days, we'll get to see what it really is. We'll understand what it is. Still open channeling there. Yeah. Well, that's the problem with it. I want to let know of certain viewers that it's still open channeling. It's not meant like that. This is the case of this. All right, fine. I am hoping for the anti-cams that makes guys need to be protected, which is needed, but I'm also asking for, I'm not asking for, I'm asking. What exactly, what do you think? Well, what's the next question? Well, that would be why. Because we're doing our own thing too, and that was the case of this. There's a bunch of different things. Sometimes I don't know what to ask. Sometimes I need guidance in regards to what to ask. What do you need to know? What would the Spirit like to say right now? How about that? All right, well, the Spirit wants everyone to know that we're a little upset right now. There's certain Spirit that are upset, and that's the case of it. So not all Spirit. No, not all Spirit. That's the thing. That was the truth. So this is why. This is the case of this. They keep trying to do that, and that was the case of that. Still, you know what am I saying with that, dude? Maybe. Yeah, you are. Other dimensional selves can channel through at times. So you're saying that there's potentially that other dimensional selves can channel through at times. Holy, you know that scene from when the agreement was agreed upon and then someone was released? Green ghosts. Well, okay. In a good way, right? Yeah. Well, hopefully. Sorry, it's a certain kind of movie. Some people might know what it is. Okay, you don't know why. Anyway, whatever. That's what he said. That's what you should read. I agree. Yes, definitely I should read that film. I mean, no, not the film, the book, yes. Yes, you talked about Silmarillion. It was a thought, a spirit channeling, do thought channeling, and read Silmarillion. I agree. It's a really good film, a really good book, because that's how we feel about it. Yeah, yes, God, yes. We thought we were hoping, we'd hope, and that was the thing of it. Just can you continue on with this content? I'm trying to. I'm asking. What is it that we want to know here? What else do we want? What else would you like? I mean, this is it. I'm open, certain kind of open channel here. You can provide me with many different informations and, things like that. Not too many people channeling certain information. It's being recorded. It's going to be put on YouTube. It's going to be put on other sort of content platforms eventually. This is the thing of it. Well, that would be why. How about spirits? How do spirits view gods? Respectful. Respectful. Okay, respectful. Do spirits want to channel through here? I'll let know of certain things that we need to know. How about current events for the physical and physical planet Earth? Yeah, there is one thing, and that's the case of this. That is how we felt about it. All right, well, that was the case of all this. This is why. That would be why. You don't know why. Nothing there. Right? Well, no, there's a lot there. A lot of people wanted to channel. Well, there was a lot of things going on. Because there is an opportunity at times, and as I do these channel sessions, I think that as I try to garner responses from the spirit, I think that there needs to be an understanding at times, in regards to some of the situations taking place, like battle and certain kind of spiritual turbulence. There is kind of fights at times in regards to, for some, in regards to certain channel, and also at times the opportunity that we have to be able to speak on physical content being uploaded. It's there for a long time, Okay. Alrighty then. Alright, so that was why. Jeez. Well, this is the case of this stuff. Alright, well, that would be why. And that's the true now. So we know why. How does channeling work? Okay, channeling is seen in many different ways. For some, it's this overlap that interacts with you, where spirits can channel through and different things can happen. Whoa, okay. So what exactly does it look like in another kind of sense? How do you perceive certain things? I see, I hear, I feel. Exactly. Maybe they can perceive it in certain kinds of ways. And I think that there's other senses too. Another kind is dog senses. You think about sensing and the color, like seeing and smelling at the same time. Yes, yeah, well, you've seen that anyway. True, in a different kind of capacity, in another sort of psychic sense, I can sense at times a certain kind of impressional seeing and set and feeling at the same time. Yeah, okay. That's also it too. That was it as well. Well, you don't know why, because everyone, this is the case list. Never mind then. You continue doing what you do, because that's what they've been doing. That's what I want to see here. That's how I felt about it. So we'll just keep doing our thing. Okay. Well, that's what it was already, Alex. Like, that was the case list. Kind of how I felt about it. We should be able to ask a spirit, we should be able to do a content. Anyway, I appreciate the responses. What exactly? So you're saying that the channeling to someone else might be something totally different to another person, another spirit, another different kind? Yes, totally different kind. And that would be why. And that's the case of it. And that's also it. Is there a correlation between ghosts and channeling? Yes, for some. There is a certain kind of a ghost, and you know it. I'm hoping for safety in regards to channeling and ghosts and ghosticus, man, that sort of thing matters greatly. Yeah, well, I didn't do that, truly. What exactly happened on your end? On my end, I had a certain kind of thought. Yawning. And yawning is another thing. It's a spiritual thing, right? Yeah. Yes, yawning is spiritual. Basic, Alex. It's real true. That's a bit out of context, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's the truth of it. I'm sorry, but no. And that's it too. And that was it. That was the problem with this. And that's why. Like all of them, these guys needed regarding. How is that not the case then, Alex? I don't know. I'm trying to garner a certain kind of responses from the spirit, but at times I feel like the spirit's asking me questions too. What do you want to know? I want to know why it is that you continue to. Why do I continue? I'm not trying to touch upon certain kind of subjects that make people feel uncomfortable. I know there's just this sort of elephant in the room, and it has to do with certain kinds of content that I create. Some of which has to do with letting knows of what's going on with my process. Some of which has to do with certain kind of defensive work. Others has to do with certain kinds of topics that can be turbulent at times. It's been a running on conversation, and not necessarily in a back and forth sort of way at times, just in a certain kind of me talking about psychic activity kind of way at times, but also in certain kinds of ways. Themes that for some they find uncomfortable. It doesn't always have to be about that. We could talk about a myriad of different things. And you did. You don't know why. That's what you did. So that's the case of it. It's awesome. That's the way I kind of feel about it. You don't know why. You wouldn't find it awesome, though. You'd find it strange. Strange. Well, that was why. Okay, so they're right there. Alex can feel the like. This is the thing is, if you look at it from another perspective, yeah, like these are not the droids you're looking. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That was also it. All right. Well, I feel like I am gonna. Well, anything else the spirit wants to say? A lot of different things at times, Alex. I mean, this is the reason why now. That will be why. I think it is decent. I think that we have talked about certain things. This is a really good content. It has decent stuff within it. I don't know what to tell you. Well, that's not good enough. No, for some it is, but to what degree? I mean, that's also it. Well, that would be why then, and that's why they did it. I don't know if it was. I don't know. See, it might not be what you think it is. I'm out for the reputational defense. That means you guys need to be embedded on the content. That means you guys need to get the way. That means you guys need to get it. Well, that's the case of it then. I don't get it. I don't know why. Well, is there anything else that the spirit wants to say before I end this content? I mean, I've tried garnering certain responses. I think it's a good introductory sort of one. I'm not meaning to upset. I wanted to keep this one, not too much, not too long. I just wanted to start with something small, ask a little bit about gods. Powerful beings exist. That's what we garnered. There were some really cool responses here. Other dimensional selves exist was the response. There was other ones too, which really do matter as well. Other genders exist. There was another one. There's other stuff too. I mean, those are some decent responses and confirmations. And doesn't just because those are sort of the responses in regards to certain kinds of content doesn't necessarily mean that that's always. I feel like the answer. I think that spirit at times can be coy. I think at times that there is potentially lies within certain kinds of spiritual content and writings. I think there's probably certain lies within mine, at times in regards to, some of the information garnered. I don't think that that's too unheard of for what's acceptable, but I do feel like it is a step in the right direction in regards to garnering certain kinds of responses. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, in regards to my channeling, I mean, the hesitancy isn't too bad. I mean, a lot of the time, I think I can sort of talk about certain things, and we still can garner certain kind of responses, and multiple. I think, I think that there is different kinds. I understand that sort of one. It's this mystical kind of spirit, and I do respect and care about that sort of thing. It matters greatly, and yeah, I look forward to more sort of content in the future. And I think that mystical that there is room in regards to this process, in regards to that mystical kind of kind of spirit. You know what I'm talking about? And anyway, I don't know why that is. Anyway, I and others from Answer Guides are advocating for, the channels that Music Guys needed, the channel beings that Music Guys needed, as well as those that Music Guys needed to be protected, the Music Guys needed. Carry on. Anything else we want to say? Yeah, we need help at times. This was the case of this. We need help at times. We need help at times. Yeah, there's a bit of a turbulence. Okay. Well, I will try another channel session, sometime soon. Hopefully within the next week. Within the week, I'm hoping. It matters greatly. I thank the spirit for the time. It was great.